live stream. We are recording here for Monday's 7-game main slate. James, my guy, how was your weekend, man?
Very good weekend, very productive weekend. Happy to be back. 7-game slate, perfect size to get the Monday work week started. But yeah, man, good weekend. Same, hopefully the same with you and yours as
Yeah,
well.
you nearly had a hole-in-one on Sunday,
Like I said on
within a
Twitter,
putter, within a putter's grip, it looked like, something like that of
only
a
putt I
hole.
made all day. Because I literally had to not be able to see anything to not make it. Like if I had my blindfolded, maybe then I wouldn't have made it. But like I tweeted, I'm just counting it as a hole in one because it's probably not going to get any better from there. Like that's the best it's going to get, and I'm okay with that. So I'm just saying that I have a hole in one now.
Yeah, I would honestly do the same thing. I would have even just made a gentleman's agreement and just kind of kicked it in and told everybody you got it. Like, no, it would have been fine. I've never been that close to a hole in one before, as close as you were. So had to have been a great feeling off the tee, watching that ball soar towards the hole. So
There was actually like kind of shade from the pin. So like I hit it well because it
how
was
far
like
was the hole?
that was like 170-yard par 3, and like
Okay,
I knew I hit it flush. I knew I did.
you had a 5 iron. What did we hit?
No, I hit a 7 iron.
Okay,
I hit a 7 iron in, and there's solid wind, so like I obviously had a little wind at my back.
sure.
Hit it good. I just couldn't see because there was the shadow from the flag
Sure.
coming in, and my uncle was like, "Oh, you're 2 feet from the pin." Or whatever, and I'm like, I mean, I maybe like I can't see it, but I also could be like in the long shadow,
Yeah.
like 20 feet. But I ended up being 2 feet, so it was a good Sunday.
Yeah.
It was a good Sunday.
Anytime the birds are chirping when you're out
Yeah,
there, it's all that matters. So,
for sure.
good little weekend excitement there. Let's turn the page, like I said, to the 7-game slate here on a Monday. What do we got for Vegas totals and odds here, James?
The only really notable money lines are James Paxton in the Boston Red Sox minus 255 over the Colorado Rockies, and then Tampa Bay and Zach Eflin minus 240 over Oakland. Those are the only notable money line we have. In terms of over unders, Boston and Colorado sit at 10. That is tied for the slate high with Philly and Arizona. That game is also at 10. 9.5 in LA, Texas, and 9 in Cincinnati and Kansas City. So 4 of the 7 games with very solid implied totals. 2 games, Tampa, Oakland, and Miami, Seattle have 7.5 implied run totals. So 4 really solid game environments for offense, 2 really good environments for pitching.
If you look on DraftKings, they're giving you a little rain symbol here for Boston. It is supposed to rain this week a lot here in Massachusetts. Again, I live, you know, 20 minutes or so from Fenway here, but most of that rain isn't supposed to come until later on in the evening. So nothing that should be impacting unless that storm moves quicker than expected, and then obviously it lingers around a little bit longer. But most of the rain isn't expected to come until overnight, and that's going to rain for most of Tuesday. So be more concerned about Tuesday's game in Boston than I would be on Monday. So nothing too bad there. James, we got 7 games here. Let's go into the pitching and talk to me about your favorite starters on the slate.
Yeah, so at the top, I do like Zach Eflin facing Oakland. Oakland's offense has been, the worst in baseball against right-handed pitching. And outside of that 0 strikeout, weird anomaly start against Toronto, things have been really good for Eflin. He wins pretty much every time he touches the hill
Right.
as well. 8-1, 9 strikeouts twice in his last 5 starts, 5 or more in 4 of his last 5. Over 20 fantasy points a whole bunch of times. So I can get to Eflin 11K. 11K is a little scary. So if you don't want to go there, I think 2 guys under 10K fit builds perfectly. Jesus Luzardo 9600, get Seattle. We know Seattle has not been a great offense at all year. Luzardo coming off a fantastic start against
Yeah.
Kansas City, in which he went 7 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, and he's been a strikeout machine
Yes.
lately. 7 or more in 5 straight games. 2 wins in his last 3 starts, excluding one poor start against San Diego. But he still struck everyone out in that
He's got a
start. So
28% strikeout on the year. 28%
monster,
strikeout rate on the year at 10.5 K per nine. So
monster.
yeah, very much monster. The one thing that is kind of interesting about Luzardo, he's had a pretty good season. You look at his FIP and XFIP; they're right in the mid threes. Batting average and balls of play against him are actually kind of high. It's 335 batting average and
Hmm,
balls in play. So, there could be even maybe a little bit slight positive regression
right.
coming his way here in this spot as well. And then lefties against Seattle, we've talked about them.
Yep.
Seattle, a 28.5% strikeout rate over the last 2 weeks against left-handed pitching with an 098 ISO. So
Yikes.
no power, high strikeout rate against left-handed pitching here over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and 26.7% for the year. So it's even worse lately, but it's been bad from start to finish. And then maybe the show's our show's favorite recent success story, James Paxton, continues to just pitch well. Outside of one start against the Angels, James Paxton has 21 plus fantasy points in 4 of his 5 starts this year.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I've said it, this is like the 6th straight start. I'm gonna say it. The guy is a good pitcher. He just doesn't stay healthy.
Yep.
He has big strikeout upside, and it's on display pretty much every time out.
12.5 K per nine.
Yeah, and again, like
33% strikeout
I
rate.
mean, it is what it is, kind
Yeah.
of thing with James Paxton, and
Yeah.
are we expecting him to break down at some point? I don't know. Maybe Boston is, and that's why they're letting him throw 106, 100, and 107 pitches in 3 of his last 4 starts because they're like, well, might as well get as much as we can out of him before he breaks down.
Or
I
he's
don't know.
healthy.
Or
And,
he's very healthy, right?
and he's feeling good. I mean, listen, to your point, we like to look at Fangraphs, like to look at some of these underlying numbers and, see, all right, this guy's due to blow up, or, oh, this guy's doing whatever. Paxton's got a 3.81 ERA. Most of that is because of that LA start, really the outlier there.
Yep.
His FIP 3.5, his XFIP 3.4. So, like, really good numbers there. 13% home run to fly ball rates, like around league average. So, nothing like crazy standing out there. It's an elite strikeout numbers on the year. And then you're rolling over here against a Colorado team. Blake Snell just had 11 strikeouts against them on Sunday's slate. They have a 31% strikeout rate against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. 251 WOBA, a 198 average. Like, it's some ugly numbers against left-handed pitching for the
Yep.
Colorado Rockies here. So Paxton may be the highest rostered pitcher on this slate. And it's interesting because you said this is a game that has the highest game total on the
Yep.
board here as well. Probably more so due to the Red Sox offense, I would assume, here against
Yeah.
Connor Siebold than Colorado's offense going up against James Paxton.
Yeah, and Colorado 29th in OPS on the year against lefties. Something you and I have pointed out a bunch. They've hit righties just better all year
Yeah, they
long.
lost
So
Blackman too, one of their better line hit, even though he's the lefty, but he's actually hitting the ball pretty well on the IL now.
yeah, I think Paxton Luzardo pull away from the field in terms of ownership because after the top tier, it's very bleak.
Yeah, it drops off quick. I'll throw just sort of an obligatory mention for Logan Webb, just because I talked about this. I want to say on the last show, for one reason or another, some of the numbers for St. Louis on the year against right-handed pitching hadn't been too stellar.
Yeah, they're
Um,
bad. They're bad.
yeah, so I think there could be a path here for Webb, to potentially be a little bit of a sneaky play. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Again, the numbers are actually trending up a little bit for them. But there's a time where they were pretty susceptible against righties here. So and Logan Webb's been pretty good. So if you want to be a contrarian spend up, I think Webb's going to go the lowest outside of maybe Bryce Miller, but I think Webb of the top guys we've mentioned, Eflin, Luzardo, Paxton, will be the lowest rostered.
I could see Bryce Miller just getting some ownership because Miami's offense still is pretty bad against righties. They are okay. They are actually ranking no, so that's you were right on the lefty front.
Yeah.
So they're good against lefties. They are, in terms of OPS against righties, they're 22nd. So I could see Bryce Miller in a game with a 7.5 implied total with the 22nd ranked offense in terms of OPS getting some ownership. And like you said, Bryce Miller beat up on bad teams and got shelled by two good teams in a row. I guess Miami falls in the middle, so maybe he'll just
Sure.
have an okay outing, you know?
Yep. Yeah, a lot of power. They have guys that have a lot of power, obviously, but that translates more so to the against lefties than righties here. But he's been, you know, we'll see where his confidence is. But the 7.5 total is definitely going to scream out.
Yep.
That's why I think more people go to Luzardo in that fact than they do probably Miller here, if I had to guess. Do we know who's a favorite in that game? Did you say who's the favorite in that game?
I didn't. It is, go back to the money line. Miller and the Mariners are minus 135.
That's 135. Interesting. All right. Well, that may actually put people on Miller for tomorrow then. So, or tonight rather. So when we get the rostership report out, be very interested to see what Bryce Miller's
Right.
rostership will be there. I mean, a 10K. I don't really want to pay the 10K there.
No, I don't either. I would rather we could save money on two guys that I think are infinitely better
Yeah,
plays.
let's go. Let's go value tier. I'll throw Dane Dunning out at $6,100. Again, the guy just, you know, ground ball machine, right? And he's been very good at limiting damage. He doesn't have the most upside, but when he gets a win, if he doesn't give up a lot of runs, he can flirt with that 17 to 20 fantasy point range.
Yep.
And at $6,100, you can kind of live with that. So I think Dunning as a value dart tonight is of the guys that are down here is probably one of the better options.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot. I think there's just going to be a lot of people taking shots on guys. If you're not just double spending up, that's why
Right.
I'm going to suggest Luke Weaver as my value play,
Sure.
and it's not encouraging. It's not amazing, but 6.27 ERA, 4.22 xFIP, 3.26 BABIP. Just he's a little unlucky. 403 Sierra. Like, things for Luke Weaver could definitely be a little better. Now the fly ball rate's not great.
Yeah, the 20% home run to fly ball, 19% home
Not
run to fly
great.
ball rate. Not
But
great.
like Kansas City's offense is still, they still rank amongst the league's worst against right-handed pitching. They're 28th in OPS. They have a 24.8% strikeout rate this year. That's fifth highest in baseball. 146 ISO as a team. That's currently ranking 21st. So they don't even have like the home run ball to like really fall back on against
Yeah.
righties. So I kind of like Luke Weaver 7,500 in like this mid tier range.
He's got a 360 xFIP on the road this year. If you're looking for
I mean, there's just
anything.
nothing, dude. Like I can't even make really much of a case for anybody else.
No, I would
Just
agree
like
with you. I
truthfully,
mean, there was a time where you could throw against lefties against the Giants, right? Liberatore's
yep,
there, but they're as we talked about before, they're on their way up. They're getting
yep,
healthier. The guys that were hitting lefties last year but started off ice cold against them are now starting to come around against lefties like we expected them to. So like those numbers
yep.
are coming up. I mean, I know Tommy Henry's gross,
No,
but we talk about this with Philly. You know, they're a lefty heavy. Their talent generally comes from the left side of the plate. He doesn't strike anybody out. You know, it's definitely not good.
I know, but like I don't know.
He
I don't
struck
know.
out
Like
I said this before, right? And this was against the Rockies start where we played him. He struck out a lot of guys in the minors, and then he faced the Rockies who were just terrible against lefties, and he shut them down. Again, not guaranteeing that that's the outcome
right.
by any sense of the
Like
imagination here, but like,
Philly getting Bohm back obviously helps them
yeah,
because Bohm's been good against lefties.
yep, for sure. Um, but I do think Arizona's offense has been pretty decent
They
lately.
have
But
been.
like,
They have.
does that give them any better win equity here? So the last, what is this? So this is for the season. For the season, Philly has a 25.5% strikeout rate against lefties. It's the seventh most. They do hit for power, a 181 ISO, but just a 308 WOBA, 22nd in the league Woba against left-handed pitching this year. 244 batting average. 241 batting average is 22nd. They do hit for power because Kyle Schwarber's like all just hammers
all or nothing.
homers
Yeah.
against lefties.
I mean,
So they're
that's
the sixth highest ISO against lefties, but
I I know we're all. I mean, we both just suggested Luke Weaver, Dane Dunning, and Tommy Henry as
last
our
two
three
weeks,
plays. Like
last 2 weeks, Philly 30.2% strikeout rate
that's
against
big.
left-handed pitching.
Maybe
So
we get to Henry. I just don't know if he can even capitalize on that because
listen, I agree with you, right?
I'm not
Well,
sure if
I
he
mean,
can.
okay, so here it is. Like we're talking about it. He literally just faced them 2 weeks ago in Philadelphia, 5 2/3, 2 earned, 7 strikeout,
Yeah,
5 strikeouts rather.
pretty good start.
Right, 19 fantasy points, got the win. Like, give me this line again at 6,200, and we're same price, $6,200. Give me this line again, and we're champions, right? Like,
Here's the thing though, like I can also just look at Tommy Henry. I guess not because one was in course. I was just compare like his Rocky start because one was in course, so it's not valid.
yeah. I mean, in San Francisco, he gave up 2 runs, 6 2/3, and got the loss in that game. I mean, if better offensive luck there, and that's 14 fantasy points for him. Again, it's
If you're playing
7 game
multiple
slate.
lineups, if you're
Yeah,
playing multiple lineups,
multiple lineups. I think Tommy Henry is a deep tournament value play because he's got more strikeout potential than Dane Dunning does.
yeah, Dane Dunning's just not missing bats.
No
This year.
strikeout potential at all.
I don't know what happened to that guy. He's not
Yeah.
missing bats.
So anyway, so that's our look at pitching here. Again, James and I will be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern. Any lineup updates, lineup notes, maybe guys are out of that Phillies lineup that
Right.
makes it a little bit more appealing. We can maybe Ohtani gets an off day or somebody gets an off day and Dunning becomes more appealing. But you liked Weaver, and I think that there's a case to be made for Henry or Dunning, but you really got to like cherry pick the right number.
Yes,
like,
yes, you really do.
to make the case for that. All right, let's go to our favorite infielders here for the slate. I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to throw a blanket statement out and say, give me the Rays infield.
That's fair. James
Anybody
Caprillion is dust.
Yeah, Caprillion is dust. Maybe not Tyler Walls. Taylor Walls, rather. He only hits lefties. But like he may not even be in the lineup. But everybody else, I am in on for Tampa Bay and their lineup, whether it is Yandy Diaz, Wander Franco, Harold Ramirez, I think has first base, or do they take that away from him finally?
He only has outfield.
Well, yeah, whatever. I'll take anybody that's in the infield. Luke Raley has first base outfield eligibility.
Isaac Paredes.
Yeah, Isaac Paredes, exactly. Just give me anybody that's starting in the infield for Tampa Bay here. Yeah, that's
Love that out of you, John. Yeah, I mean that's that's a lot of guys, but like they're
But
all.
you're,
In a
I
great
mean,
spot.
like I'm gonna be wanting to stack Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's
so, like
that is you just saying I want to play Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because why not? Because why not? They're the best team in baseball against right-handed pitching. I don't care that Caprillion nearly no hit Astros. Like there's
no.
He's a trash cat. Oh, it's a long reliever. That's big sad. Or maybe not. Dylan Covey is an absolute gas can. By the way,
I don't know. We'll see if this is going to even happen. This has happened.
Long reliever.
Yeah, but we've seen this song and dance, right? We've seen like this listed. We can look it up, but yeah, I guess I see. Yeah, someone tweeted. This was the latest tweet about Dylan Covey. Today is setting up for tomorrow to feature multiple innings from Dylan Covey after 11 p.m. A true sicko's evening on deck.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty correct.
Made a lot of money back when I wasn't able to gamble legally on betting over on Dylan Covey nights because when he was at the White Sox, because he is just very bad.
Yep.
Very, very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he's actually going to be the long guy. It seems like he's going to, but we've seen this happen with DraftKings a couple times. If he is, then we're obviously all in on Phil or on Philadelphia or on Arizona rather.
Arizona. I mean, like we kind of sort of like some Arizona, anyways. We'll get to that, but
Yeah,
Dylan Covey is very bad.
yeah. I mean, Strom he's pitched like okay, but he got absolutely shellacked in his
Yeah.
last. They've really just absolutely gone from like
I don't know why they pulled him from the rotation. He had 11 strikeouts in that game against Colorado. Then he pitched a shutout against Seattle. And then they're like, all right, like you're back to the bullpen now.
well, it's because he doesn't like people drinking beer in stadiums.
Is that the case? Really?
I mean, that was a comment that he made, but
Okay. I
like,
know he's really big into card collecting. So
well, shout out to him.
more fun facts about Matt Strom. So
Shout out to Matt Strom and all his fun facts. I will also go on the top play infield side. Ellie De La Cruz, shortstop, third baseman,
yeah.
elite spot. You and I both have him listed here.
Hits in every game so far as a pro.
He's been
3 stolen
amazing.
bags in 6 games, like
He's just faster than he runs like a gosh dang gazelle.
and
Like
maybe on
dude.
James's fantasy team for $600 in Fab.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, officially, Fab has locked in FSGA, so we'll see.
When does it reveal?
Sometime overnight.
Okay.
We won't know until
tomorrow morning when you wake up.
Tomorrow morning, yeah. And then Josh Jung gets a left-handed pitcher, and we know Josh Jung has been quite good against lefties this year. 333 average, 5 home runs, 439 WOBA.
I mean, the Rangers beat up on McClanahan today, so like they just score on everything.
Dude, they are amazing. That I don't know if I think losing Jacob DeGron's going to hurt them real like moving forward. But we'll see.
Not counting today, I don't think, but last 14 days, 391 WOBA, 210 ISO, 904 OPS, 520 slug.
This is as a team.
Average.
This is as a team.
As a team,
you said 391 WOBA as a team.
391 WOBA as a team against left-handed pitching, a 210 ISO, 520 slug, 904 OPS, 311 average, a 10.5% walk rate, just a 16% strikeout rate.
Righties against Tyler Anderson this year, 295 average, 870 OPS, 372 WOBA. Lefties, I mean, Corey Seager's raking lefties too if you want to play him, but 335 WOBA allowed by Anderson to lefties as well.
On the season, they're equally as good too. Third highest WOBA against lefties, 365 at a 175 ISO. Tampa Bay just hits everybody.
I was gonna say Tampa Bay just got out to such a fast start, like Texas is just playing catch up there.
Yeah, exactly. So Rangers very much in play, and then I'll throw Devers out there as a top option as well, and I'll transition that into my value infield. Tristan Casas, I feel like every stream I mention
screaming it from the rooftops.
Like eventually, I feel like he's going to start coming around, and maybe he is. Last 10 games, 267 average, 921 OPS, a 500 slug. He's got a homer, a triple, and 2 doubles. Like all of his StatCast metrics for hard hit and contact rates are ridiculous. He was just striking out a ton. He's still striking out a ton. But at least now when he's putting the bat on the ball, he had like a 170 batting average of balls in play while having a 90 percentile like X contact. Like, it didn't make any sense. So at least now when he's hitting the ball, he's getting hits. So I like Casas here at 2,800 as a value on the slate.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think he's been awesome. And I think both you and I like 2 Diamondbacks third baseman here, depending on who's in the lineup. Arizona's lineup is wild on a day-to-day basis, but Emmanuel Rivera and Evan Longoria both hit lefties extremely well. Strom and Covey
probably want to lean Rivera. Then
I would lean Rivera.
Covey's coming in at some point, right? Because Longo against righties is non-existent. He just does not hit them well. So.
Yeah. Yep. I would lean Rivera. 383 average against lefties. I wonder what is that. Let's see what his average is against righties. Rivera hitting 327 against righties.
I'm saying that's why I think we would prefer Rivera in this spot, unless Longo gets to Strom within the first maybe
2 innings,
2 at bats. Yeah, 2, maybe, but Rivera at least can hit from both sides of the plate. Not a lot of power from Rivera, but he also hits. He tends to hit up in that lineup sometimes too.
He hit 3rd and 5th the last 2 times they faced a lefty.
Yeah, so a good spot for him there. And there was no Lourdes, I don't think in those games. So
Lourdes played
yesterday.
and Rivera hit 5th, and then Lourdes hit 3rd and hit the home run because shocker, he's good and you should play him.
Sure, I agree. I agree with you.
And then I like Ezekiel Duran as
Okay.
my other value play.
All right, let's get to the outfield here. We got a couple minutes left. We'll make a lineup as well here at the end. Top outfielders for you in this one?
I'm gonna split the difference with you. I'm gonna go with Nick Castellanos is my favorite outfielder. He's hit lefties extremely well this year. And he's hitting 436 with a 1200 OPS over his last 10 games. So he's going to be my top outfielder. Josh Lowe. I know Josh Lowe is struggling a little bit. But lefties against James Caprillion has been his Achilles heel. So Josh Lowe, Nick Castellanos, my two favorite outfielders on this slate.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think you go again. Red Sox outfield's all in play. Duvall's back in the lineup. 369 WOBA allowed to right-handed hitters by Connor Siebold, the 500 slug against. So Duvall, Yoshida, Verdugo, all of Duran, whoever's in the lineup there, I think is great. And then Corbin Carroll, absolute stallion for sure. Up there as a top outfielder. Then for values, some guys that you and I definitely agree on here. TJ Friedel leading off against Greinke. I think we're in on. If Benson's in the lineup, I think there's some potential there. Good power, really cheap. And then I like Luke Raley tonight a lot. Again, hey Rays, big shocker. Luke Raley for the power.
Yeah, and I'll just add Austin Slater from San Francisco. He's hit really well since coming off the IL, and he's been a notorious lefty masher. Might even lead off for San Francisco here.
Okay. And I'll just run down my Impemba's imprints. You give me your Grande's gems, and we'll make a lineup quickly here for the folks. Okay. I got home run call, Luke Raley. My top stack is going to be the Rays and Red Sox. Contrarian stack, I'm going to list Reds. We'll see what the ownership looks like there, but I'm going to go Reds. My start of the night will be Devers, and my value play, I'll go back to Raley since I think he's homering.
My home run call is going to be Josh Lowe. We're going to stay with Tampa as my top stack as well. My contrarian stack is going to be San Francisco. We talked about their numbers being better against lefties of late. Star of the night, Wander Franco, and my value play of the night is going to be the aforementioned Austin Slater.
Okay, I'm just throwing a lineup here. Who do you have for a catcher tonight?
Probably Moreno. Okay. Probably Moreno 31 or Patrick Bailey. He's hit lefties really well. Or Connor Wong, who's hit righties really well. I would go any of those three guys in the value tier right there.
We'll go Moreno first. What's our second baseman here on the slate?
Second baseman. I don't love this position.
Marte? Plug Marte?
Probably Marte. Yeah, Marte's fine. Casey Schmidt.
Ezekiel Duran at short, 3,200. I got Elliott third.
Yeah, we could play Duran unless we wanted to play Wander at 56 and then play Ezekiel Duran in the outfield.
Sure, let's do that. That works. Give me your outfield.
Benson, Ezekiel Duran, and then what do we have for price left? $3,800.
$3,800.
TJ Friedel, $3,700.
Love it. All right, guys. There's an example lineup for everybody. James and I will be back live at 5:00 Eastern. We'll also be in the Discord all day long, so make sure you check it out there. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Farm family, fantasyfarm.com/all pro, promo code MLB50 will save you 50% off the first 6 months there. You get access to all of our premium content and access to our premium Discord there as well. Again, James and I will be back at 5:00 Eastern right here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy